Have you ever fallen in love with someone twice? I thought I knew my wife Elena inside and out after 15 years of marriage. We had our routine. Coffee at 7, news at 8, bed by 10:30. She was careful, predictable, safe. Honestly, we'd become strangers living in the same house. Then everything changed in one terrible moment. She was riding her motorcycle to work, the one thing she still did that felt dangerous, when a drunk driver ran a red light. The impact threw her 30 feet across the intersection. I got the call at my office from a paramedic and raced to the hospital, my hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. 3 weeks. 3 weeks she lay in that coma while I sat beside her bed every single day, holding her hand, begging her to wake up. The doctor said there was severe brain trauma but couldn't predict the outcome. I barely ate, barely slept. Our friends brought casseroles I couldn't stomach. I lived on hospital coffee and terror. When she finally opened her eyes on a Tuesday morning, I cried with relief, but my joy was short-lived. The neurologist, Dr. Nguyen, pulled me aside with grim news: severe retrograde amnesia. She'd lost the last 20 years of her life completely. In her mind, she was 22 years old again, fresh out of college. The woman I married was gone. This Elena didn't remember our wedding day, our house, our anniversary trips, our fights, our making up. She looked at our wedding photos like they were pictures of complete strangers living someone else's life. "Did I really marry someone so boring?" she asked, pointing at me in our formal wedding portrait where I looked stiff and uncomfortable. It stung worse than any physical blow she could have delivered. But this new Elena was nothing like the woman I'd lived with for years. She was wild, spontaneous, fearless. Everything my wife had been before responsibilities and routine wore her down. She wanted to go skydiving, learn salsa dancing, backpack through Europe, try foods that scared her. All the dreams we'd abandoned. I was devastated but completely fascinated. She started hanging around me anyway, intensely curious about this future version of herself. We'd talk for hours about everything she'd forgotten. Our disastrous first date when I spilled wine on her dress, our honeymoon food poisoning in Mexico, the time we got completely lost in Rome and laughed until we cried. "Tell me about us," she'd say, curled up on the couch like a college student cramming for finals. And I'd tell her stories about our life, watching her face light up with genuine wonder at adventures that had become mundane memories. One evening in November, after I'd been telling her about our 5th anniversary trip to Napa Valley, she grabbed my hand suddenly. Her touch sent electricity through me, something I hadn't felt in years of perfunctory kisses and obligatory hand-holding. "You know what's completely crazy?" she said, her eyes bright and alive in a way I'd forgotten. "I think I'm falling for you. Like, really falling hard." I stared at her, my heart racing like a teenager's. "But Elena, I'm your husband. We're already married." She shook her head, smiling that mischievous smile I hadn't seen in a decade. "No, that other Elena married you out of habit and comfort. This Elena, me, right now, today, I'm choosing you because I want to." There's a huge difference. Over the next few weeks, we started dating again. Real dates, not married couple dinners in front of Netflix, but nervous, exciting first dates where everything mattered. She'd get butterflies when I picked her up. I'd actually worry about what to wear, how my hair looked. We had our first kiss again on her doorstep after a movie, and it felt like lightning striking twice. 3 months later, everything changed again. We were having breakfast on a snowy Saturday morning when she suddenly went very still, her coffee cup frozen halfway to her lips. Then tears started streaming down her face without warning. "I remember," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I remember everything now. Everything." My heart sank into my stomach. Was I about to lose this incredible woman I'd fallen for all over again? She looked at me with tears in her eyes, but to my surprise, she was smiling. "I remember our boring routine. I remember how we stopped really talking, stopped laughing together. I remember feeling like roommates instead of lovers who chose each other." She reached across the table and took both my hands in hers. "But I also remember falling in love with you twice now. Once when I was 22 and thought I knew everything, and again at 42 when I was finally smart enough to know what I was choosing and why it mattered." She squeezed my fingers tight. "The accident took away 20 years of memories, but it gave us something infinitely better. It gave us a real second chance to choose each other consciously. We renewed our vows 6 months later in a small ceremony with just our families. This time, neither of us was boring, and we both meant every single word. Turns out losing her memory was the best thing that ever happened to our marriage."